We're live.
We're live?
We're live.
No countdown. No countdown today.
No, they're just throwing us right to the wolves.
All right. Well, here we are. Here we are.
On Labor Day.
On Labor Day, we're here.
That's why I got this on, and that's why I got my guns out. You see how big they're getting?
They're ginormous. They look like ginormous pimples.
So, Mr. Chaz is in town. He's 25. We're 25 minutes away from each other, but there's a wall of rain between us. So he's at his luxurious multi-story 100-acre hotel.
Yes. I'm here. I'm ready. I'm doing some WWE PC stuff this week. I'm excited about it. Obviously, we've talked about it. I love doing it. So it's going to be a great time. And, NXT TV tomorrow, and then whatever else I have in store for me, I don't really care. I just have fun. So it's going to be a blast.
You get to be at NXT. You get to be at Evolve. Like, everything is looking up Chaz.
And the timing of it was perfect also because Tyler's fraternity is having like some kind of parents tailgate party Saturday night. So I'll be able to be, I was coming up for that anyway. So it all just kind of meshed and worked out together.
The planets aligned. You had a fun weekend in St. Augustine. Now you get training all week and then cap it up with a tailgate party for Ty. That's awesome, dude. Golly.
Yeah. So it's good stuff. Good stuff. But you shared with me that you started watching Unreal.
Oh, man.
So I have no idea what your thoughts or whatever. So go ahead.
Chazzer, I have one question for you. Did anybody tell CM Punk that this show was not kayfabe?
Why? What do you mean?
Every single part of that show is talking about the insider stuff on the business, right?
Right.
You see Rhea Ripley literally going through spots in her head to Damian Priest. Cut to CM Punk. And he's like, mind you, I'm paraphrasing. The Royal Rumble, it's one of our most exciting events. It's the only thing that stands between me and WrestleMania, man. It's just me and 29 other guys. I've been training for this. I just hope that the luck of drawing my numbers on my side and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, homeboy, the jig is up. We literally just watched a scene from the boardroom of them talking about who they wanted to win the Rumble.
Who they wanted to win and why. Yeah.
And why. Yes, and why. Yeah.
And why. I guess he was just, I don't know. I don't have an answer. Because I know exactly what you're talking about. And I have no answer for that other than, I don't know. And the other part of it is, now that you bring that up, is they aired it. Like you would think if they're peeling the onion, peeling the onion layer by layer by layer to get all the way down to the core of what's going on, they would tell him to redo the promo.
Yes. He looks like a dingus.
Yeah.
He looks like a fool. Literally everybody is talking in insider terms, for lack of better wording, exposing the business. And he's over here talking about Seth Rollins is my most hated rival, and he's gotten my number on a couple of occasions. Shut up. We know.
Right.
We know.
Yeah. We know. Yes, we know. We know when we're being told it. So
yeah.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for you on that one other than, I don't know. Maybe they should have, told him to do something different, or maybe that was, I don't know, maybe in his mind it's still a shoot.
Or maybe it was a rib. Oh, okay, I see. Maybe his matches are a shoot and everyone else's are a work.
In his world, it's a shoot.
Yeah. But I will tell you, I started it and I immediately felt the hair on the back of my neck standing up. And then I heard legit, because I told Jenny this, I heard your voice in my head saying, stop it, fucker. Watch it as a fan.
Watch it as a fan.
Watch it as a fan. And then you were right. Like, this is awesome. It's so cool. I don't know what I would have done if something like this had come out when I was entranced in my ultimate fandom growing up. When I came, like watching you guys, Attitude Era. I don't know how that would have affected my fandom.
It's funny because I've thought about that. Like the kids want to believe still. But then again, they realize there's not really a Batman and a Superman and a Spider-Man and an Iron Man at the same time. It's a show. It's a movie.
But you don't think this is a little bit different? Like if you growing up watching, the Road Warriors and Powers of Pain and Demolition and all those guys, how do you think that would have affected you? Because I mean, you believed for a while when you were still little, right?
It's- to an extent, yeah.
Wait,
I
the
mean,
jig was up for you early?
oh yeah,
What?
yeah. Well, I mean, at that when I really started getting into it, I was like 14, 15 years old. I wasn't, 8, 9, 10. I really got into it like when the WrestleMania started, so mid 80s. So, like I
Oh,
said, I was like 14, 15, and you see Hogan punching someone in the forehead like this 100 times. When I'm in a real fight and I punch someone and they're down on the ground, or you know what I mean? Like it,
yeah.
well, I kind of knew, I just didn't know how. That was the part that I couldn't figure out was how were they doing everything they were doing the way they were doing it. That was the mystery to me was how.
So you would have
And
liked this,
yes, I would have liked it. Yeah. Um,
huh?
so yeah, so it was the how they were pulling it off. And then it wasn't until when I went to the school and I started, and that was the most amazing part to me when I went to the Monster Factory was the how. And the how was so simple of just talking in the ring. Like,
Yeah,
because you don't, and it was the biggest part was when I had gotten in the ring with King Kong Bundy when he was getting ready to make a comeback. He came down to the Monster Factory and
that's so badass, dude.
oh, it was amazing. And he said, "Who wants to get in the ring with me?" And I couldn't slide in the ring fast enough to get in there and do a 5-minute job match for him. And it was amazing because King Kong Bundy, if you watch him growing up, it was like and he's always like grunting the entire time he's talking, like we're talking right now. He was
Really?
that smooth, but it sounds and looking at him, he's like, he's like, all right, kid, let's go back now, duck it, blah. Like he's calling spots while he's, and I was like, oh, that's amazing. So to me, it was the how they were pulling it off and being able to run the spots they were running the way they were doing them and just to pull it off. It was the how. That was the mystery to me was the how.
How old were you when you started at the factory, Chaz?
I started in 93, so 22.
Okay, so you were like brand spanking new adult.
Oh yeah, I
How
was
was
20.
how was Bundy in the dude? I am such a huge King Kong Bundy fan. One of my life's greatest regrets is gonna be that I never got to meet him. But was he stiff in the ring with you? Did he like try to
No,
take
he
advantage? Damn,
No, he
dude.
was great. No, he was. We went out with him that night, and
Oh
that's
my god, dude.
a whole different story for a different day. That story would probably take up almost the whole time we're on the podcast.
All right,
So
we got
that
to dedicate
I'll
a
write
show to
this down.
this.
King Kong Bundy. Hold on,
Yes, please, please.
and this story's in my book, which I'm still waiting for a publisher. But anyway, um, yeah, the Bundy was amazing. He was such a great guy, just so down to earth, and he was a regular guy, is what he was. I mean, that's the
That's
best way to sum it up. He was a regular guy. He came down into school and he was like, "Hey, I just need to work out and train to kind of get my legs back. I'm getting ready to go back." He did that little run that he did, I think, in was it 94ish,
yeah.
95. He went back, and yeah. So, but that's the next time we'll talk about
That's
that.
amazing, dude. So this is the last thing. Is he as big in person?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And not
God, dude.
only size wise, just people say like their personalities are bigger than life. Just
Yeah.
his persona was bigger than life. That was him, 100%. Yeah, he was
Dude,
he
the
was an
fact that
amazing person.
the fact that he's not in the Hall of Fame yet is crazy to me. But
Yeah,
there's issues there.
yeah. We'll see. Yeah,
But you and I wanted to talk about promoters because you did a show. But before we get to that part, Clash in Paris. You had a busy weekend, so you didn't watch it.
no,
You did tell me the one thing you did see was probably my biggest gripe, and I know I'm gonna get heat for it, so I'm gonna try to keep it tame. But Becky Lynch,
and I
I
saw the
think,
clip. The clip. Sorry, let me just go,
yeah, yeah,
and then I'll let you go. The clip I saw for everyone watching or listening is when she comes in for the finish, nut CM Punk, and that was the end of the match. That's all I saw. So I don't know the storyline of how she got involved or the story of the match of how it
oh,
was going. I don't know any of it because I saw nothing. Because again, I was away. I've been away for the last 2 days. I haven't seen anything. I haven't watched anything.
Hmm.
I have to get caught up. So that's
Okay.
all I know. And if you spill something to me now, it's not going to hurt my feelings. So
No, no, I'm not gonna spoil anything. Because the focus is more her. You are much more a big proponent of women's wrestling than I am, and we don't have to get into that whole thing. But what are your honest thoughts on Becky Lynch? Just out of curiosity, of her work and stuff, as a seasoned veteran.
um, this is gonna this is not going to sound good, and I don't mean it the way it's not going to sound. I like Becky Lynch. I liked when she came out as the man, and women's wrestling was just taken off. I think since her injury and she took the time off and the baby, the whole thing, and she came back, I think the women's wrestling went from here to here since she had that time off.
She still
Um,
stayed here.
yeah, I even kind of feel the same way about Charlotte. Like the women's division took off so much in the last year and a half. I think the women that were there had all climb. And if you weren't, you kind of just staggered, and now they got to catch up. As
Hmm.
far as the in-ring work goes. I think the women's division is so strong. I think they're all so athletic. The stuff they do, it's unbelievable. But as far as the work rate goes, she's still, she's over because she gets a reaction. She's got the charisma. She's got the personality. She's good on the mic. I like Becky Lynch. I just think the work rate from what I've seen is not the same. And it would be the same thing as me getting in there with some of these guys now. My work rate wouldn't be the same. Um, yeah. So I say that because I don't want to sound negative towards her because that's not
Yeah, yeah.
how it's meant to be at all.
Hmm. I was just curious because I honestly, and this again, I'm nobody. I never understood the hype. I know that she's over. I know that she's got a crazy following, but I don't understand why. If that makes sense, like she got her face broken by Nia Jax, and all of a sudden she had a rocket strapped to her back and is the most over woman in all of the business. And I noticed that last night. She definitely carried that match that she had last night. That's why I want you to watch it. But
Okay.
it was a rough watch. It was that match was I felt uncomfortable for her having to lead through that match.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll have to watch it. But yeah, I don't know how to. I don't even know how I'm trying to. I don't even know how to put the words into what I mean by the level of.
No, I get it. Because I mean the business is always evolving.
Right.
In the blink of an eye, just as fast as you can lose your spot, you can lose your momentum. They say
Oh
an
yeah.
injury is the worst thing because someone slides right in. But taking a month off, it's like technology. Your iPhone, 13 is going to be obsolete in a year.
Right. Yeah. And I think the athleticism of these kids coming out of, and again, I'm going to sound biased because it's NXT, and I work with a lot of them, but I just see it, and it's just ridiculous the way it is. And if you're not working that way, and let's be honest, the main roster, they're not training every day like these kids in NXT are. These kids in NXT are training 4 or 5 days a week. And then, they do because they'll go through their class and then they go work out and they have the medical right there. And then they have open ring a couple nights a week, which is amazing. And, and then they're working with so many different coaches that it's just different. It's different because again, if you're on the main roster, you're not working out every day. You're not in the ring
Mhm.
every day trying to, I don't want to say trying to evolve. That's not right either because everyone there is trying to evolve and get better and try to, innovate and do different things. But they don't have the house shows to work on
Mhm.
these different things like they used to. So to me, the main roster, stale isn't the word, but it's kind of the same.
Yeah, there's
So
no
when you
room. There's no
bring
room to
the
try new things.
Right. So when you're bringing the NXT people in, the NXT kids in, it's a different momentum. It's a different thing. Like I think, at first I was kind of worried about Roxanne Perez, like where's she going to fit in? But her fitting in with the Judgment Day, and now the storyline with as much as you don't want to see someone getting hurt, Liv gets hurt, she's able
Mhm.
to get in there and have a more of a main spot. I think she's done an amazing job, and some of the matches are better with her in them.
Hmm. Now, do you think it's a disadvantage in a way too, Chaz. This is interesting because you're down there training with those kids, especially a lot more frequently nowadays. That they have this fast paced style, that they're used to a certain work rate, and then they go to the main roster, and like you said, a lot of the guys up in that roster are not working that style, are not working that pace. So it's almost like these NXT kids that are used to moving at a certain level kind of have to bring their style down a little bit. Do you think that's a disadvantage to them?
No, I don't, because I think they're the future of WWE.
Mm,
NXT obviously is the future of WWE. So it's more of roster guys. It's more of the main roster guys having to. They both have to adapt. You
okay.
know, you have like Braun Breaker. He came through NXT, and so you see his style. It's fast. It's running. Everyone's going to adapt, because what it is, if you're on the main roster, you got Braun Breaker coming in. I'll use him example. You got him coming in. You don't want him taking your spot, so you got to get better somehow. You got to figure it out.
Ah,
So they're all going to have to figure it out. But it's different when you get to the top, like when you get to Seth and CM Punk, even Cody Rhodes, because their matches are more storyline. Their
mhm.
matches are more telling a story, which is slower. But it's a matter of both just fitting together like a puzzle, and depending on who's working who, you got to put that puzzle pieces together to have it make sense.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, because I
So
always, I always wondered, because guys on NXT have such explosive finishing moves. And, sometimes I think to myself, Seth Rollins isn't going to take that move, or Cody Rhodes is not going to take that move. Like,
right, but
just
those
like I
guys are
remember.
working together, so it's different. So it's different, and I do like the way they are putting Big Bronson Reed. His personality's coming out, being with
Hmm.
Seth, and being, he sits there laughing. He's got the glasses on with the sneakers. He's the shoe thief, and like it's a personality, because the only personality he had before really was he was just this big
Big.
bowling ball looking guy coming out and just squashing people. That was his thing. And but the personality's coming out now, and Braun Breaker's personality is coming out a little bit more. And I do like the idea of Seth and Paul Heyman. Paulie just basically going, "This is the future of WWE. This is the future of it." And Paul said it himself in the interview with the Unreal thing. He said, "Listen, I don't want to be back in my day. I want to be now. I want to be
Yeah.
today. I want to be tomorrow. I want to be WrestleMania this year, WrestleMania next year." And they're basically, what I like about it is they're basically saying, "Hey, this is the future of WWE. So get used to it. We're going to use the old guys, who's the Seth Rollins and them, to get these new guys over." And
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it's kind of working.
Oh yeah. It's like a evolution 2.0 situation.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
The only difference is this now. Ric Flair is Paul Heyman, and he's not getting in the ring with them. But whatever he lacks with in-ring experience, he makes up for in promos and character development and all of that stuff.
yeah. And Paul's promos are ridiculously unbelievable. Did you hear the one hear him last week in Philly? I think it was last week
Yes.
or 2 weeks ago in Philly. I was like,
Yes.
I was like, whoa, he's
Yeah.
just shooting on everybody. Like, I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was
It
awesome.
amazing. He got a lot of flack for his Hall of Fame induction speech. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out where the heat is with Tommy Dreamer.
Well, I mean, it's been reported heavily, not to bring the mood down, but a few years ago, Tommy Dreamer came clean out in an interview and was like, yeah, when ECW shut down, Paul Heyman, I guess, owed him lots of money, and Tommy Dreamer was taking ECW's closing really heavy, and he was like, got like a firearm, and he was gonna come to a show and like blow Paul away and then blow himself away, and then like somehow he came to his senses, which is what?
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. Never heard anything about that.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about
ECW,
that.
ECW was a wild time too, though, man. Like I hate when folks say just let it rest because Why? It's not like someone's trying to resurrect the company. No one's looking to say, "Hey, let's fund an ECW reunion." But like, I take it personally when I hear a crowd chanting ECW, and then you see the folks on the internet say, "Quit chanting those letters. It's dead. Let it die. Let it rest in peace." You know?
It's not dead. Um, ECW helped um, revolutionize part of even today. I mean, you look back at those times of there were signs all over the place. The
Hmm.
sign WWE had signs all over the place, and then they, eventually they wouldn't let everyone do signs up, but the signs are starting to come back. The chants all came from ECW.
Hmm.
As much as some of the chants I think are overused, not overrated, but overused, that's what came from that. It came from that. And a lot of the guys who carried WWE when, after the merger, they bought WCW came from ECW. So it had
Yes.
a lot to do with the future of the business.
Well said, dude. That's awesome. Yeah. Oh, by the way, again, I'm not gonna give you any spoilers, but I will tell you that crowd last night, Chaz, was on fire. On
Those
fire.
those overseas crowds are
Yeah, tell
some of
me
my
about that.
they're ridiculous. I remember when we went to England the one night only pay-per-view we did, and Glenn and I were tag champs, and we came out. The pop we got was freaking ridiculous to the point where like you're just covered in goosebumps and you just couldn't believe it. And yeah, the crowds over there. So when we went to my first overseas trip ever was when with WWE, we went to Kuwait, 5 days in Kuwait, sold
Oh,
out the same building every single night, and they were loud every single night. It was just crazy. 'Cause They
wow.
don't get they don't get to see it live all the time. So when they get to see it, they're totally into it.
See, and that's what I thought it was too, because somebody was texting me asking me, "Yo, why are these people so crazy?" And I said, "Because this is a very seldom experience for them, dude.
Yeah,
They don't get it. They're not oversaturated or complacent like U.S. fans are."
right. US fans could, if you live in, I don't know, Baltimore, and they're doing Raw in Philly, it's a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
You can drive up and go see it. So I mean, you can get around to go and see things. But when you're overseas, it may, different country, they may only go to the country once every 10 years. So it literally could be a once in a lifetime thing to go
Hmm.
and see it live and in person.
Chazer, what about the Canada crowds in your personal experience? Because I remember watching you guys in the Attitude Era. Jerry Lawler would refer to Canada as Bizarro World a lot because the fans were contrarians, cheering the heels, booing the faces, or whatever, or like some would say hijacking the show with their chants. But how did you feel about the Canada crowds?
I don't remember much other than, to be honest, other than more than back then it was, Brett was a heel. So when we went to Canada, he was the baby face, and then
Mhm.
all the Americans were, Stone Cold, and everyone, those guys were all heels. So it was like
Huh.
it was a role reversal when we went up there. The Hart Foundation, they were all the big baby faces, and anyone working against them were heels. Um, I remember we did a match against the Godwins. I want to say it was in Ottawa. So we did a show in Montreal, and then we had to drive to Ottawa, which I think, if I remember correctly, was a couple hours. And there was a car with Doug and Phil. A couple other guys were in it, and they got in a car accident.
Ooh.
And we were opening match with the Godwins, and Jack Lanza came up to us and said, "Hey, I don't know when those guys, like, it was like there was like 6 guys in the car. They had like a van, so it was like a big portion of the roster." He said, "I don't know when those guys are going to get here, if they're going to get here at all." He goes, "You guys need to go. The 4 of you need to go out there." He goes, "And be prepared to go for a long time." He goes, "I will walk down the aisle when it's time for you to go home." So we were like, okay, like we literally had no idea how long we were going to go. We went out there and we goofed. We didn't goof around, but we messed with the crowd. It was such a great. It was probably one of the best matches we've ever had because we had time to tell a story, establish a baby face, establish a heel. We didn't lock up for a good 10 to 15 minutes. When we locked up, that place erupted.
Dude,
They
that's amazing.
they popped when we locked up. They finally popped. We went 45 minutes,
Holy cow.
and Jack finally came down, and I remember we got a little bit of a boost in our pay for doing it. But yeah, we went 45 minutes. I mean, it was the chicken shit heel. We're gonna slide out. I think Glenn and I were heels then. So like we're sliding out, we did the old we're leaving and boo, like screw you. If you boo us one more time, we're leaving. We got up on the corner and they booed us, and then the Godwins jumped up and they cheered them. Like we did all, but it was such an old school thing
Memphis
that
style.
finally when we locked up, the place popped. And the cool part is Henry and Phineas knew that style also because they worked that territory as well. So it worked out really well.
Dude, I never knew that story. That's fantastic. Golly, 45-minute tag match.
Yeah, we went 45-minute opening match, tag match. So
And they were hot throughout the whole thing?
they were hot. They popped for everything. They popped when, for like I said, they popped when we locked up. They popped for the spots when we finally did a spot. They popped for the heat spot, the comeback, the hot tag, the finish, the whole thing. Yeah, it was so much fun. It was such a great match.
That is tremendous. I can't even imagine that. Hey, how long do we have? When you see me walking down the aisle, take it home.
Yes, when I come through the curtain, that's when you're going home. There was times we looked at, I don't remember who was reffing, but we were like, are we still, did Jack come out? No one see him? Like, did he come out and then think we saw him, went to the back, and whoever was reffing was like, no, he goes, I keep looking. I haven't seen him. Haven't seen him. Haven't seen him. Yeah,
That had to be nerve-wracking as hell, though, no?
Yeah, no, it was more just because we were like, all right, so what can we do? Like, how much more heat do we get? Do we do a quick comeback and go into? And this is all discussion we're having in the ring because again, we don't know. So it's like, all right, we'll do a couple of spots. We went 10 minutes locked up, then we did 5 minutes of shine to them, and then we're getting 5 to 10 minutes of heat, and it's like, all right, do we do a quick comeback and then more heat? Like, do we do double heat here? And then like this is the discussion we're trying down the ring because we don't know how much longer until he comes out. So that was
is
the only
wild.
nerve-wracking part because you don't want to go so long with the heat where it's boring, but you don't want to pop the comeback too fast because then if Jack's not ready for us to go home, then we're going to get yelled at.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the nerve-wracking but fun part because we got to be creative. We got to do whatever we wanted. So it was one of those, old school, just go out there and figure it out and have fun. And that's what we did.
That had to have given you guys so many brownie points with the office at that moment in time, because like, hey, show us you can work is basically what that translates to.
Yeah, because I think also that was within our first year of being there.
Wow.
Doug and Phil were still there. We're there. So it had to be, I'm going to say it had to be something we signed in. It had to be sometime in 97. So yeah, it had to be within that first year, maybe into 98-ish, but year and a half, maybe year and a half of us being there.
Man, since you mentioned Phil and Doug, that was one of the wildest conversations I remember you and I having on this show in the early on. I used to think those guys were so like innovative and like, man, they do such cool moves. Like, why don't these guys get a bigger push? And it wasn't Chaz until you were like, because all they did was moves. There was no substance. There was no character. There was no charisma. Their moves were so clean you could eat off them. But that's where it started and stopped. But that's so. See, it's crazy. I mean, God, I've been in the business however long, and that didn't even click until I heard it from you.
See, that's what made them amazing in Japan. Because in Japan, that's all they want is the moves. From what I understand, because I still haven't been there. But that's why they got over so well in Japan. But over here, you need to have some kind of personality and charisma, and you got to be able to sell over here. They didn't sell much over here. We'd hit them. I remember one time we hit Phil with a double flapjack, and he was on his feet before we were, kicking kicking us. And I was like, what the hell just happened here? Like, was that a reverse? I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, that's why. Are they both passed on, haven't they?
I don't know. I hope not, but I don't know.
I know one of them did, but you, sir, had a weekend last week. Oh, because we couldn't record last week because I had stuff going on. But you said you wanted to talk about promoters and what they do.
Yeah, just quick because I know we're getting to a half-hour mark already. So we're in Nova Scotia. not. I guess I am calling him out, but it was a great show. The guy was great who ran it. The shows were fun. The matches we had were not exactly my favorite matches. They were
Oh,
they were Glenn's favorite matches because we got there, and first of all, so it was a show on Friday and Saturday, and Glenn had texted me the week before, and he said, "Hey," he said, "they want to do a war game style
oh
match
yeah, you told me.
Saturday." And I said, "Yeah, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to get hit with shit. I don't want to be in a cage." And but then he was like, "No, it's going to be 4-on-4." And I know War Games was 2 rings surrounded by a cage. So in my mind, I'm thinking, "Oh, he's going to have 2 rings." And I was like, "Yeah,
Mhm.
I'll just grab a chair and a 6-pack of beer, and I'll sit in the corner. I'm going to watch 7 people beat the shit out of each other." Um, so I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll do that because I don't really have to do much." And then, and I don't want to sound lazy by saying I don't do much. I just don't like getting hit with weapons. I don't
No.
like getting hit with chairs and cookie things. I don't want tables, like I don't want to get hit. Therefore, I don't want to hit people because if I'm hitting you, technically I should get a receipt back. Because if I hit you with a gimmick, as you know, I'm going to hit you. You're going to feel it
Oh yes.
because I'm not going to pull it at all. Because when you're using chairs and all that crap, you got to lay it in.
Or
Um,
dictionaries.
right, dictionaries, exactly. Reading books, yes. um, but so then we get to the show on Friday, and first of all, we get to the show Friday. There's no water, and I'm going to blame my boy Jeff, who I think is might still be on here. Jeff told us there would be water.
There
Um,
should be water for the
and there,
boys.
there was no water, so we didn't stop to get water because he was like, "Oh no, there'll be water there." So I had to. So Glenn and I were at the gimmick table selling gimmicks. And this is great because a fan comes over, and I know he had to sign like a couple of things, and we took his money. And then he's like, "Oh," he goes, "I forgot to get." He goes, "I wanted you to sign this." He had a belt. He goes, "I wanted you to sign this." He goes, "How much is that going to cost me?" And I go, "Bottles of water." I go, "Bottles of water." So he went over to the concession stand and bought us like 6 bottles of water.
Yeah.
Perfect. I said, "So for us signing your belt tonight," I go, "whenever I need water, you need to give me a bottle of water." He's like, "Yeah, no big deal." So that's how we got water. So I blame Jeff for that. So we get there, and then the guys were working. The one guy comes up and he starts talking about like gimmicks, and I go, What do you mean gimmicks?" He's like, "Yeah, well, there was a shopping cart right next to us." He's like, "Yeah, that's our match," and I go, "What? Like, I don't want to get hit with shit." And he looks at me and he goes, "Is it because you're like injured?" Now this guy his name was Sidewalk Sam, and good guy. Just everything was old school, like slow movements, and he said to me, he comes over and he goes, "So, is it health related? Is that why you don't want to get hit with anything?" I go, "No, I don't like getting hit with shit." Like
Yeah.
it's that simple. I don't enjoy that type of match. I said, Glenn loves it. Glenn will go out there. So we ended up doing it. And I said to him, I said, "I don't want to get hit with anything." He goes, "Well, you can hit me with whatever you want." And I go, "Okay." I said, "I'm just telling you, I'm
Oh
gonna lay it in."
no.
I said, "And I don't want to get hit back." So I think he did hit me back, but when when he did, it was like one of those little cookie sheets like this big. And he like I like gave him my back. He like hit me in the back with a cookie sheet a couple times. And then it was just crazy because the finish was we had like the trash can out there, the trash can lid. Glenn wanted to we didn't have a table, but Glenn, it was funny at one point the crowd started chanting tables. And I stopped real quick and I screamed really loud. I go, "Devon, get the table." And it got real quiet. It got real quiet. I looked around and I'm like, Devon's not here. We have no table, people. You're not getting a table tonight.
That's awesome.
So the finish was going to be trash can lid on the ring, powerbomb leg drop onto the trash can lid.
Oh.
And I said to the guy, I said, "Well, put the lid," like he wanted it upside down. And I said, "No, do it this way because when you land on it, it'll squish. It's going to go flat." He's like, "No." He goes, "Keep it this way. There's a bag of thumbtacks. I want you to fill the trash can lid up with thumbtacks, power bomb me on top of the lid with the thumbtacks, and then I'm like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, why? Like, so yeah, so that was that match, and then it was fine. I had a good time doing it, but But the weird part about this, the setup was we flew into Nova Scotia, and I'm going to say Nova Scotia is right here. This little, I don't know if you can see that little spot.
Yeah.
Nova Scotia is there, okay? Or Halifax. I'm sorry. We flew into Halifax. Halifax is there. The town is, say, right here that we're in. So they pick us up at the airport. They drive us to the town. We stay at the hotel. The town the next day was on this shoulder, the very southern
What
point
the?
of Nova Scotia. No, it's fine. It was a 2-hour drive. It was fine. Here's where it gets weird. Up here above my head is where the hotel was after the show on Saturday night. So we went from here to here to here,
Ross.
and then they want us to drive here, which was 3 hours away. And then we would have got back at 2:00 in the morning, and our flight was at 5:40 Sunday morning.
Nah, dude.
Here, which was a 45-minute ride here. So how can you not, like, I could see the hotel here, but how do you not book us that night back at the airport?
Yeah.
So I went online and found a hotel room. It was $250, and Jeff drove us back to Nova Scotia, the airport, which we got back at. This was the shitty part. We got back at 1:45 a.m.
Oh.
By the time we checked in and got into the room, it was 2:15. The alarm went off at 3:30 to take the shuttle to the airport because the flight was at 5:40. But the logistics side of that, how do you? And then the hotel that was up here had the worst reviews ever. The reviews were bed bugs. The reviews.
Oh,
were,
no.
The reviews were about people running drugs in and out of the hotel. Like, that was the review of it. Like, people were going there to get drugs, and I was just like, well, I don't know. I said to Glenn, I go, if I got to pay the extra money to stay right at the airport, that's what I'm doing. And Glenn's just whatever. He's like, who cares? Whatever. And I go, Glenn, I don't want to get to the hotel at 1 a.m. and then have to leave it. I mean, we ended up leaving an hour and a half later anyway, but at least it was right by the airport, and then having to drive 45 minutes to an hour. And then who was going to pick us up at that hotel? Because Jeff lived in Halifax, who was driving.
Oh, yeah, no.
Then we had to get someone to drive us. It was just the logistics of it was not good.
Not
then,
well thought out.
No. And then again, the water situation. I don't know. Most locker rooms have water. Like, even when we got to the next town, there was no water. So Jeff drove us back to the store, and we had to buy water, and so, which is fine. The really good part was the pizza place. They had a pizza place that was a sponsor, and we did go there and ate like tons of pizza for free after the show on Friday night, which was amazing. It was really good pizza. It was fun. It was a good time. The guys that, Jeff and Mikey, who drove us, like, they were great. They're two independent guys. Jeff lives in Nova Scotia. Mike lives in Montreal. So they do that whole Northeast up there. They go to Boston and stuff like that. They were great guys. They made it a lot of fun. Most of the stories I can't tell that we had discussions on in the car because there's just not very good language being used in stories. But no, they were great guys. They made it. They actually made it a lot fun, a lot more fun than I actually expected to have. The first hotel we stayed at, though, was interesting as well, because it was just I'm used to now, everything's updated. Up there, nothing seemed updated.
Oh, so they're going back in time.
Yeah, so the hotel, like, it's that, like, you're walking down the hallway at a hotel and you're thinking red rum. You're thinking walking down the hallway, and then you get in the room and you lay down on the bed and you roll over and you're like, oh, there's a spring. You roll, oh, there's another spring in my back. but again, it was that part of it was just part of it. It was part of the experience. It was fun. And Glenn actually he made a funny joke. He goes, wow, he goes, it's funny. He goes, we're like back right where we started. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, like, staying in dive hotels like when we first went to Memphis. But
full
I just
circle.
the promoter side of it, what I don't understand is no water. logistically setting up the hotel rooms. The other part that drives me batty. Now, Glenn and I, my situation were different with getting paid because, we got paid, deposit. So we got paid half up front. And then the other half we got paid while we were there. Like he sent it while we were there. Ours all went through, Venmo or PayPal or Zelle or whatever the hell it was. But the other guys, like Jeff and Mikey, drove us around. We had to wait hour and a half after shows were over for those guys to get paid.
See, that's shitty.
That it just makes the night so like you're sitting around and it's like, all right, the rings broke down. Like, all right, like we're like, well, can we leave? No, we haven't got paid yet. We're like, fuck. Like, can we leave? No, haven't got paid yet. Nope, waiting to get paid. And then Glenn even went over to the pro and asked me, he's like, can you pay those guys first tomorrow night so we can get the hell out? Yeah, but those are my big gripes about promoters.
Yeah,
Like,
but that's a
pay
great
guys up
point.
front. And
Yeah,
I knew you by being in the business and working, and then I know you promoted shows, so I figured it would be a good conversation to have.
No, I love it. Yeah, you guys worked for me when I did the 2 ring war games, and we didn't have any weapons in it.
Yeah, that one didn't. So the cage match did not have weapons. It was just a cage match, but there was 8 of us.
Oof.
And then Glenn finally got his table in because he grabbed a table. We took one guy out, threw him out of the cage. So it's 4-on-4 in a cage match, and Glenn and I grab one and leave our partners. So in a 2-on-3 situation to put this guy through a table. So we lay the table, and it's not like the regular table you break. It's like thick wood like this. Lay the guy on the table. Glenn climbs to the top of like a 12-foot step ladder. Glenn falls off the step ladder because he would push off because the ladder would slide. And I'm holding the guy. He falls. I move. The table doesn't break.
Oh no!
The table leg, one of the table legs, like bent, so it went like this way. The table. So this is the table. Then all of a sudden it went this way. Glenn landed on the corner of the table. When he landed. Like, thank God he was tall enough to have his feet hit the ground also. But the guy sold it, and the table didn't break. Like I said, the leg broke. It fell over. Glenn hit him. It got the pop. It got the reaction we wanted. But the funniest part was the guy laid there so long. Jeff, who was in a different match, he came running. He was like, I need to go check on him. Someone go check on him and make sure he's okay because he hasn't moved in like 10 minutes.
He sold it.
He sold the hell out of it. It was amazing. Yes. He sold the hell out of it. He didn't move.
No, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So that just, I don't know. I think as a promoter, one of the things that you should have, listen, I know they wait for the gate to get paid, but you know what? You need to have the money up front. Like, pay the guy. If you don't want to pay them before they wrestle, like, I like the guys when I walk in, they're like, here's your money. Thank you. Blah, blah. Because then you're like, oh, cool. It takes all the stress out of anything else. Because that's the biggest, most stressful thing at an indie show is am I going to get paid? Then you don't see the promoter for a half hour and the show's over. And it's like, oh, did he run off? Because I get in those situations. So just pay guys up front, have some water in the back. Like, I'm not asking for anything special.
No.
Have some water.
I don't understand that mentality. This is the last thing I'll say is whenever I ran, and I ran for 7 years, I always had the budget of the roster before we even opened the doors. Whether or not I make my money back is my fault as the promoter. You guys showed up to work.
Right.
The guys came out, they put their bodies on the line. I don't understand the mentality of forget not paying someone for doing a service. You're not paying someone for putting their body on the line is inexcusable.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's it.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, you got a busy week.
So that was it. But it was a good time though. Nova Scotia was fun. It was a good time. It just, there was little things. And I'm complaining, probably some people are like, oh, you're probably thinking like, oh, big deal. Like, there's no water. Go get your own water. Yes, 100%. I have no problem buying my own water. There's plenty of times I'll stop and get a gallon of water. But I'm just yelling at Jeff because Jeff said there'd be water there. So
yeah, you don't mind getting it if you know you're going to need it. Yeah, you don't mind buying your own water if you know it's necessary.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, folks, Chaz has a busy week. You got to watch Clash in Paris somewhere among the madness there.
Yeah, I'll be able to get it in. I got to get caught up on LFG also because I didn't see it last night. So I got to watch that before tomorrow so I know what's going on.
and I'll finish Unreal so CM Punk can keep on kayfabing me, and we'll take it from there.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks everyone for watching. If you're watching live, thank you. If you're watching it not live,
Post.
then thanks. Yeah, but when you hit the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe channel so you know when we're on.
Yeah, hit the notification bell to stay updated when we upload new ones, and share the wealth, everybody. Tell folks about the show, and we'll see you next Monday.
Sounds good. Peace out.
See you.